Hello YouTube, my name is Matt Vreeds and today we'll be talking about one of my favorite authors, Daniel J. Siegel, and his book Mindsight, about how we can understand our emotions and our thoughts and how that can be useful in our daily lives. We're going to be talking about three topics: shame, the prisoners of the past, and the tripod of reflection. Let's start off with shame, shall we? So shame basically happens when you're a young kid, and you're having an overwhelming situation and you don't really know how to cope with your feelings, and your caregivers are not there in that time for you at that moment. This could be either because they're not really paying a lot of attention to you, or because they're giving you a lot of confusing signals from themselves, because they don't know themselves how to deal with their own emotions, so you can't really place them. And the reason why that is so impacting on your life as a young child and for the rest of your life is because when you're experiencing emotions like that and you're confused and you know that something is wrong, so you can look for the reasons at two people. You can look for the reason with your caregivers and basically be saying that you can't really depend on them, or they're not always going to be there for you, or you can start saying that something must be wrong with me, which is why I keep on attracting these situations and which is why I'm experiencing this in this moment. Which of the two options do you think the child would choose? Do you think the child would blame the fault at the caregiver, or do you think the child would put the blame on himself? Now, as a child, it's probably one of the only situations, but really, children do put the blame on themselves, and they look for the faults within themselves. So rather than seeing their caregivers as defective, they start seeing themselves as not good enough, or something must be wrong with them. And that is pretty dangerous. Because as a kid you need safety and you need security, but you basically are creating a lifetime full of self-doubt and full of that feeling of not being good enough. So why can this be threatening? Can this be damaging your relationships? It can basically be because when you're a young child and you're having the feeling that, hey, something with me is wrong, and people start showing you attention, that can actually be a great sense of discomfort. So you'll be doing in relationships two things. One could be the relationship is so good and you're being with this girl or with this boy and you're just she's so amazing or he's so amazing, and you're having that feeling like this is just perfect. I would like to continue this for the rest of my life. But then you start thinking unconsciously most of the time, what if actually this person will discover me and will notice how bad I am and will end the relationship? That is going to give me so much hurt. So I'd rather end it before, right? And secondly, what they might do is, hey, this person is showing interest in me, but I'm not that good or I'm not that special. So if they are showing some interest in me, something must be wrong with them. So what I better do is I better move away from them quickly before they even worsen my current situation. And who wins from that? I cannot think of any winner from that situation. I think it's just a never-ending stop. Now hold on for that thought for a moment, because I'm going to be touching on a solution on how you can actually catch yourself in that moment and distinguish your feelings from what's actually happening. Secondly, prisoners of the past. You might say, Matt, that sounds really compelling. What does it mean? Prisoner from the past is basically an overwhelming trauma or event from your childhood that keeps on interrupting your ability to cope with daily life. And that originates from when you're young as a child and you're experiencing an overwhelming situation, but you're not able to talk to anybody about it, or you're not being asked to recall that situation, and you just start stressing out. So your cortisol levels in your body are starting to raise, and that is blocking your hippocampus. And your hippocampus is situated in the limbic areas and is the organ that basically makes sure, or the part of your brain that makes sure that your implicit memory is coded into explicit memory. And that matters because implicit memory happens unconsciously, while explicit memory allows us to talk about our days, to talk about the amazing experiences that we had, and to be able to relate with our friends on all our experiences, even when they weren't there. Now what happens when you're stuck with that implicit memory and it can't be coded into explicit memory? Basically, you will start seeing some cues and some triggers from the past that were a similar situation. Like for example, when somebody would throw out a hand. For me it might be, hey, nice to meet you. And it might be like a nice greet, like this person is happy to meet me. But when you've been hit, for example, in the past, this same gesture might actually be, oh, I need to duck. Somebody's going to hit me in the face. And you don't want to get that situation. So it's going to influence the way we see life, or attitudes towards life and to others. It also affect the way that we are in relationships. Because when somebody might be like aggressive to us, or shouts at us, or retreats from us, or is not really sharing a lot with us, or paying us a lot of attention, or taking a lot of initiative, we might get a feeling that the same thing as in the past situation is happening to us. And those emotions are being recalled unconsciously, and you're just re-experiencing the same event without even being aware of, and having the same reaction as you did as a child, but then to this other person that might have had the best intentions.